Oh, why hello. Welcome back. Let me get out of my inventory real quick. So we are at the base. But I have to tell you, this is the last time that we're going to be at the base in terms of it being our base, or more specifically my base. So I've got my cooking set up, I've got the mind update that I've been doing quietly off screen, I've got the whole mine shaft, you know, all the stuff that you've come to be familiar with. However, I did a thing with the help of a friend. So if I'll just show you, if we look at my map real quick, let me swap to something you can actually see. You'll notice that the map looks a little bit different, a little bit squiggly, a little bit like I haven't explored as much as I should have done. All the landmarks are there. You know, we've got my big giant clockwork thing that I'm slowly working on. If that episode's not out, then it will come out someday. We've got our island, but this is now a server, and I'm not alone. So I've got friends. I finally, a buddy of mine was kind enough to help me get this set up. Yeah. Anyway, so there might be people now. I'm very excited. The bad news is this is spawn. And yeah, I can continue to live at spawn, and this can continue to be my base. However, that's not what I want to do with this. I want this to become like, everybody spawns in, gets comfortable, gets prepared, and then, oh, it's time to sleep now. And then packs up their stuff and it goes on their merry way. So that is what I'm hoping to do. So, anyway, as you can tell, we've got to sleep through the night now, so that way my buddy can actually, like, get on with whatever he's doing and create. I'm sure he's doing madness. But yeah, so as much as I love what we've built here, and as cool as it is, I want this to be a starting place for people to shuffle off. Get what they need, resupply, and then get where they need to go. So we've got all the crops that you could basically start with. We've got my old base, which I'm going to keep mostly intact and just let people know, hey, raid it for whatever you need. It's going to be mostly abandoned. And I'll come back for whatever I need, you know, whenever I need it. And so this is it. This is the end of this, which I know sounds insane. But here we are. Oh yeah, and there's creepers now. We needed the monsters for the spawns, so those are now on. Thankfully, I'm geared up and kitted out, and hopefully won't die too often. And even if we do, we've got the settings turned on, so that way I keep my inventory. But yeah, so it's just gonna be me and my boat, and a creeper who wants to blow up my boat. Hopefully I can get away from him quick enough. There we go. So I guess the question is then, where do we go? Because I wanted, for a long time, to go and move up into the Gorilla's windmill. But the more that I have worked with it, the more I've realized that it's just not actually that practical of a base. It's a great airstrip. It's a great way to, like, get from point A to point B. It's a decent storage depot, and I might continue to use it as such. And also the render distance is, like, really, really short now. I don't know why that is. So it's up there somewhere. We haven't lost it or anything, but it's just not been practical. So I've decided that we're going to start a brand new base. And I know it seems like we've done this a lot, because we have. Oh, look at that. He got andesite. That's good. Yeah, so we're heading off, and thankfully I've already scouted out where I want to be. So let me go ahead and pull up the map, and I'll show you. We're going to this little island set over here. And there's a couple of things that I want to do with it. I've really loved living underwater. That's been a ton of fun for me. There are a lot of practical things where it makes sense to have some land, so I figure moving over to this island set, I've got all the trees that I need, I've got all the materials, I've got my sponges, and we're just going to go ahead and start a new space, and see how that turns out. So, anyway, without further ado, I will see you when we get to the island. Alrighty, so here we are, we've arrived. It's, I mean, let's be honest, it's not as nice as the last island we started on. I'll be the first to admit it, but it's not, in our current position, it's not horrible. You know, if we were to start on this, like, as, like, a load-in, I'd say that we were a little bit screwed. There's no trees, and that makes it really difficult to get started. But I have plenty of saplings that we can go ahead and start growing. So I'm going to get those planted down, start on a little bit of a farm with the stuff that I did bring with me. I didn't bring, like, one of every crop. I figure if I need them, I can always go back for them. But what I do want to do is at least get some of our agricultural stuff started, and then today I want to start mapping out where our base is going to go, and then implementing it. Because we're back on a server, I would like to do this, mostly legitimate. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes before I break the creative mode out again, but, you know, for now. And I am going to make this one a quad, just because it's a little bit more reliable. We got our apple tree. There are cherry trees in this pack. I would love to go get one. It's going to take me a little bit. And so there are a few things that we need to think about. So crops are going to be one thing, and landing space is going to be another thing. So I've got my boat. My boat is great, but there are some projects that I want to work on that I'm going to need the aircraft for. It just doesn't make sense for me to try and traverse things on land. And especially not now that we've got monsters. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to implement a landing strip and a dock and all kinds of stuff. So, like I said, I've really enjoyed living underwater. And so this is one of the other appeals of this island, is that the land is not attractive. The water space? I mean, come on. This is cool down here. This is super cool. So I think that that'll be part of what we do. There's a lot of these, like, pits. Let me see if I can find one for you. And then after that, I'll get on with the basics, and then I'll bring you back for the cool stuff. But, like, look at this. We've got this giant pit down in the middle of nowhere, and then we've got a couple of others that, like, are just flattened off. This is a really good example. So we can probably just glass this off and then use our sponges and clear this out, clean it up, and then this can be like a multi-tiered, like, glass layer base. And I think that that'll be really neat. So that is what I'm going to get started on. I need a lot of glass, like a lot of glass. I need trees, and then once we have some sort of, like, hab space, once I figure out, like, beds and all that kind of situation, then I will bring you back and I'll show you what we get up to, because obviously we're going to have to restart. The nice thing about restarting, though, is that we can kind of do this with the expectation of all the mods that we have. We couldn't do that before. So this will be a lot easier for us to implement, like, water wheels and windmills and all the create stuff. So anyway, I'm going to get on with the boring stuff because you've already seen me do this, and I will bring you back when I'm done. Okay, so I'm back. I've got good news, and I've got disappointing news. It's not disappointing. It is for me, maybe not for you. So here's what our island is currently looking like. Like a few seconds ago for you, I talked about these, like, underwater pits. Well, this is one of them hollowed out completely. And then over here, I have another one of them that's been hollowed out. So these are sort of leaving me perplexed about what to do with them. I think I'm going to end up using them for tiered farming, because Create allows you to do a lot of different automated farms, but they're not necessarily things that I want to be, like, sprawled out all over the world, so I'd rather just have them contained. That's kind of what I'm thinking. This chamber down here, this is going to be our new house someday when it's nice and looks good and isn't just a big square. I got this glass front all built out. This was really the nicest view into the ocean that I could really find. It's dark right now, so you can't see much, but, like, there's, like, a crevasse that's just right there in front of the door that sort of shines light up, and it's not completely swamped by kelp, so it's kind of the nicest thing that I could make. So there is another sort of view that I think we can get with this glass over here. I'll have to go back up there and show you what I'm looking at. It could be something interesting if I can make it work. Of course, the entire time we're going to be fighting with, you know, the water, and I still don't have any kind of way to breathe under the water or do any of that. So that's sort of where we're at. Here we are. So this is where this little bit of glass is going to be. It's just right down here. If I can find it, it's right there. So looking out this direction, we get this whole situation, which is pretty cool looking. It's not spectacular. It is pretty covered up by a whole bunch of stuff. So it wasn't really our best option. This really was. Everything else is sort of swamped by all this kelp, which is great for create. It's not great for, like, making something pretty. So I've been trying to figure out how I want to decorate it. And this is where things get kind of complicated, because in theory, I think that the modern aesthetic can work in Minecraft. But the problem is that it requires a lot of black and white materials, which we've talked about before. We can work in shades of gray and black, but it's really hard, especially in this texture pack, to work with white. So to that end, I've got quartz that I've been building up. Part of it just through farming the nether. But that got tedious. And I've died twice in the nether now. So I've made this little setup. So this is really simple and easy to do with Create. This is basically the start of bulk processing is basically what this is. So I have this little tiny water wheel, and it is supplying all the power that I need to this encased fan. So we haven't really worked with either of these yet on screen, so let me show you both of these real quick. So first off, water wheel. So as you would probably expect, it's very simple to make, and it does a very simple job. It supplies power. Basically everything in the mod. So our two choices for powering our machines in Create right now, besides the creative engines, which I've been using for a couple of like creative projects, our best options are going to be either the water wheel or to make a windmill. Now, ultimately, I would like to make a windmill. I've been saving up string as I go back and finish getting all the levels for repairing my pickaxe and all that. There's been a lot of spiders farming off screen. But anyway, so ultimately, I probably want to stick with a windmill. So either way, the whole point of this power generation is to power this encased fan. And this does 4 basic use cases. So it does bulk blasting, which is used for smelting a variety of things. You have bulk haunting, which we'll talk about in a moment. Bulk smoking, which is useful mostly for cooking. And bulk washing. Which, you know, it will process clay, but there's a whole bunch of other things it does. So smelting or smoking and blasting, they do exactly what you would expect them to do. Bulk haunting and bulk washing are sort of special in Create. So, for example, you can wash sand to get clay. Besides all of the different like concrete, you can also wash red sand in order to get a gold nugget and dead bushes. And then this is the one that we care about right here. You can wash soul sand in order to get nether quartz. So there's a 12% chance you'll get nether quartz and a 2% chance that you'll get gold nuggets. You can also actually it's going to be haunt. So this basically converts materials into other materials. It's kind of like a magic system sort of thing. Most of it is converting overworld materials into nether materials. That's really all that's going on here. But you can haunt dirt into soul sand. Can't find the recipe. It's in here. I just saw it. So this is going to be a nice, simple, easy way for us to make nether quartz with the materials that we already have in bulk in the overworld. You can also take all the forms of cobblestone and you can haunt them into blackstone. So this means that we can get the nice, pretty looking black and white blocks that we want without me necessarily having to fight with the nether. So I've already got some stuff saved up here. So if I go over here, I've mined a ton of cobblestone, as you can imagine. So this is all blackstone that I've converted from cobblestone. And then I've got my quartz here, which part of it has been just normal, like, wandering through the nether, and part of it has been through processing soul sand. Now, I don't want to process all of it, because I do want to use it in some crafting. But, again, what we can do, we can take our dirt, we can haunt it into soul sand, and then from there, we can wash the soul sand in order to make quartz. So I'm just going to show that off to you real quick. So right now we've got the encased fan. It's blowing. It can suck or blow, as you would expect from a fan. And I've got my soul soil down here. I'm just going to light it. If you stand in the beam, it can do a series of effects. So right now I've got blindness, and I've got slowness. And that's from the fact that I'm standing in the direction of the haunting. Blasting will just straight up kill you. Washing doesn't do anything, and smoking I haven't tested yet. So basically we can just stand over here, and we can just toss all of the dirt into this haunter setup that we've got. So all these different items are going to float here, and for a little while we're just going to wait, and they will eventually haunt into soul sand. There we go. It's starting. And I think that should be the full transmutation. So we're good there. So now we can go ahead and pick this up. I guess it turns into soul soil. That's not what I wanted. But we'll see. We'll see. If we go ahead and wash soul soil, what do we get? So we might not get anything. This might be a waste of time. I really thought that we could get soul sand from this. So it looks like you need to turn sand into soul sand, not dirt. Now this isn't a complete waste, because you can, I'm pretty sure you can use soul soil for crafting, let me double check real quick. I'm pretty sure that you can use it for, like, making the torches and stuff, but I need to double check that. So we can make it for amnesia bones, soul campfires, and yes, soul torches. And soul torches are going to be one of the things that we need for soul lanterns. So it's not a complete waste, because there is a lot of lighting stuff that I want to be able to do with this. But let's go ahead and get out what we actually need, which is going to be the sand. I'm just going to toss a stack in there this time. Oh, and we got clay because I forgot to swap it over. I'm new to this. I'm just now trying to this whole business. But now you see, you can get some pretty interesting transmutations out of this. So let's try and do this the correct way. There we go. We've got actual soul soil now, not soul sand, but soul soil. Or sorry, now we've got actual soul sand, not soul soil, but soul sand. Kira, use the second take, please. We don't want to haunt it. We want to wash the soul sand. So this is where I got things backwards. So now we're going to toss this in. We're going to take a step back. There we go. And it has now transmuted into some portions of gold and some portions of nether quartz. Now, I'm not going to lie. This is not the most efficient thing. And you would think that it's probably going to be seriously detrimental to, like, the environment. And to a certain extent, yes. To a certain extent, no. So the other part of this entire thing is that you can crush cobblestone using this grinding wheel. And when you do, it'll give you gravel. And when you crush gravel, you can get sand, flint, and clay balls. So basically, if you set up a chain reaction, or you grind and then grind, you can end up with basically a cobblestone generator that then auto farms itself, which gives you, like, it basically creates all of the materials that we're going to need for this chain out of thin air. Now here's the thing. I don't think that that's going to be worth the investment right now. I just don't. However, I mentioned that we're on a server now. That was what we opened the episode with. So I am doing this with my buddy Rick Talk, and Rick knows quite a lot more than I do about automating with Create. And so he's already working on this. He's got a crusher grinder system already set up and is already working on trying to basically get all of those automated systems functioning over at his base. So when the time comes, hopefully I will be able to have him on and he can explain what he's doing, because I understand it, but I don't feel comfortable replicating it. Instead, what we have to deal with is this interior, right? So this is sort of where I'm stuck with. I would want to expand this direction, but we need to be careful of our clearances. So we got this wall right here. So what I'm thinking would be really nice is to have like a kitchen right here in this little alcove, and then have some sort of, I want a balcony just because I like the look of balconies. And I want to do this up nice and pretty. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. It might be one of these things where I do it off screen and bring you back for it, because a lot of it is going to be chipping away at these walls, expanding the base, possibly going this direction with it. And then after that, we'll deal with the interior decorating. And I'm trying to do all of this in survival, as you can tell. So we have a massive issue right now with our storage. That's a whole situation. I've got 3 completely full chests, and I need probably about triple or quadruple the space that I've got right now. Inventory management has become its own, like, mini game. As you've seen through this whole series. But yeah, so anyway, that's what we're looking at right now. I'm gonna end this clip because for me it's 4 in the morning, and I will see you all in like a second. Okay, so I am back. I'm gonna show you the interior. You'll notice that my numbers on the bottom of the screen are just a little bit different. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it too hard. It's fine. It's fine. I definitely didn't lose audio or anything like that several months ago. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. It's fine. Anyway, I wanted to show you the inside of the base because it's freaking beautiful. So I took several hours, I don't know, maybe several days, and finished up the inside. So this was the original hallway that we were working with. I replaced all of the stone with this kind of chiseled diorite, which I really like. It's pretty looking. And then I used some of the other like stone cutting versions to create these sort of insets. And then I'm using a mod called like Connectivity or Continuum something. It's for fabric. And it basically replaces, if you're familiar with like Optifine, how Optifine used to connect all of the textures together in certain packs. This basically replaces that functionality. So it looks gorgeous. We get these massive, beautiful panels looking into the ocean. We can see some dolphins over there. And then I've been working on, you know, growing out some, what is this? It's not glowstone. Glowberries. So I've got those. We've got a full kitchen. I moved everything in. I've got some food. I've got all my different pots and pans and everything like that for cooking. We've even got our brewing stand. And yeah, so, and then of course up here, I ended up creating this sort of spiral staircase with a little bit of water at the bottom so we can just jump down. It does make it very tedious to get back up there. I have to run up all the stairs. But the other option is to like walk out here and walk up these stairs. And yeah, and it's just, you know. So it's 6:01. I would like to ultimately replace this with an actual elevator, like a real one. We're just not there yet. We don't have the materials. And I think that we finally have enough storage. You know, I've been struggling with storage this entire series. I think we finally have enough storage. I'm hoping. Maybe. Possibly. We'll see. But yeah, so I'm really happy with how the base turned out. I'm absolutely loving being able to live underwater in this series, and then for, like, the fact that we just live sort of in the middle of the ocean has been just so much fun. And then getting to live under the ocean in these kind of dome styles, like, I'd love to do more with this. I'm not sure if we will do, but it's, I don't know, it's just pretty, you know, and then we've got all the ray tracing, so we get all the light shining through, and it's just, I don't know, kind of artistic. I like it. But yeah, so this is ultimately what our base is going to end up being like for a little while. So yeah, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. We're going to be doing a couple of interesting things. I believe the next episode we're doing is actually going to be an interview. So stick around for that, because my buddy Rick, who I set up this server with, knows way more about Create than I will probably know for a long time. I'm still plugging away at it, and I still don't fully understand all the capacities of what it can do, but he does. So we're gonna interview him and see what his bases end up looking like. So yeah, hopefully you'll join us next week for that. In the meantime, I'll see you later. Good luck, have fun, and happy building.